Hi, this is Alexander. I'm going to show you how easy it is to add social networking directly into your mobile application using the PinkleStar service. PinkleStar works for both Android and iOS, but today I'm going to show you the iOS integration. So the way to do it is you go to our GitHub repository, you download a demo application if you want to. It's located at github.com/PinkleStar, and in this demo application, when we run it, you can see that's a beautiful app for the iPhone that has a share button in it. Clicking on it doesn't really do anything, but we can turn this button and this application into a social sharing activity in no time by adding the PinkleStar service into this app. So the first thing you need to do is you need to locate the code that you downloaded from GitHub and then drag a few things into your project. The first thing I'm going to pick up is some header files and some code. All of the source code related to the UI is open source, so you can just integrate it into your project directly and adjust it to your needs. And the other thing we need to do is we need to add the PinkleStar framework into the project. That will take care of all the sharing stuff. Just locate it on your hard disk drive and add it into your project. Now we're ready to write some code in this app. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some import the main header file, PinkleStar, so that it is aware of all the code that we have ready for you. Okay, so we go to the main application. This is the code where the button is actually created. You can tell from the code that it calls a share button press method as soon as it's pressed, and this doesn't actually do anything yet because there is no code written for it. So the way we can add social network sharing to it is by opening one of our UI elements called a PS main view controller, and you can simply add that to your code here as soon as the button is pressed. I'm also going to open it using a navigation controller, and all we need to do now is set up the code. So I'll copy in the code lines that you need to create a new main view controller from PinkleStar. We're going to init with a nickname of iPhone. The reason for it is that this will also work for iPad if you want to. I'll show you in a second how. We're going to tell the navigation controller what type of transition style we would like to have, and we're going to set a delegate for it to ourselves, to this current method, so that we can respond to any delegation calls. I'm going to set up a navigation controller to display it, and that's it. This is all the code you really need to respond to a share button pressed. Run it again. It's going to give a warning, but I'll show you how to solve that in a second. And now when you press the button, all of a sudden the interface changes and I can start sharing stuff. And I see a share element of an app called Your App, and it says I just downloaded it, and I can enter a personal message here if I would like to. And I can share it to several social networks. Facebook and Twitter are checked because I already have entered credentials for it before, but I can also select other networks and share with it. There is also a preference section where I can turn these networks on and off, and I can cancel and go back. No, I cannot, and the reason for it is because we have a warning here that says that the software doesn't yet implement the PS main view controller delegate methods. So we're going to add a PS main view delegate protocol to our class here. And what we basically need to do is add one callback method that is called as soon as the user finishes the process of PinkleStar, and that's PS finished. And when that's called, you will see it will close down the UI for us. Here we go. It's all done now. I just downloaded Your App. It's a cool app. Done. I can publish it now, and it will now be published, and you can go back to your app. So how do we know it actually worked? Well, we can look on Facebook, for example. Here's my my test account, and if I update it, it will probably need to load a little bit. It should appear in a second. Twitter is faster. One new tweet. It's a cool app. I just downloaded it, and it should appear on Facebook as well. But Facebook is a bit slow today. Ah, there it is. I just downloaded your app. And the cool thing about it is you can also see that there are some links available here. As a developer, you can set these links to anything you want. It could be content on the web, but it could also be a place where the user can download your app too. And to do that, we provide you with a landing page where you can see some social elements about your app. You can see the number of people that shared it already, and the user can download it from the App Store here as well. So it's a pretty complete service that will work out of the box. Now, I'm not all done yet. I like to add a few elements to it. One of the things I would like to be able to do is to change the event that is being shared. So in this case it was a download event. And the other thing is I don't like to have my app icon in every share. So instead I'm going to add a custom icon to it. So to do that, I'm going to add a few calls. I'm just going to add a custom image URL to a share. I'm going to set the event to something custom, and I'm going to add a custom share message to it. I love this cute little icon. Save it, run it again, and now the interface is different, as you can tell. There it is. And instead of showing your app and the download option, it shows you something else. You have full control over what this needs to be able to do. You have full control over the entire interface, and if you don't like this interface, you can simply replace it with your own, because the code is freely available and the API is described as well. Now the final thing I'm going to show you is that this will also work for iPad, and the way to do it is that you need to build in a little test here to see if you're on an iPad or not. And if you're on an iPad, you'll need to do something different than when you're on iPhone. So just going to add some if then else statements in here. There we go. And when you're on an iPad, you almost do the exact same thing as on the iPhone. There are two things that are different right now. One thing is you need to open a different nib name. Nib file with a different name. This is the iPad version, and the other thing is you need to define your transition style and the way the form is being presented a tiny bit different. So in this case we're going to use a modal presentation style, and we're going to use cross dissolve as a transition style. And if I now rebuild this using the iPad simulator, you will see that we now will have fully working. Oops, 2 errors because I put my declarations in the loop here. There we go. And run it again. That should work. There's it. And now we have an iPad version of the same project. And of course, if you want this to also be able to use custom image URLs or custom messages, you simply copy them in and it will work. There it is. I love this little cute icon. Are we done? We're almost done. There's one thing left I'm going to show you, and that is if you do all of this as a developer, you will have access to a dashboard, and that dashboard registers everything that is happening within your application. And you can set events for it, and one of the things it does is it shows you the number of sessions that have been taking place, the number of unique devices that have been used. It tells you about the number of shares that users have done to what platforms, etc, etc. There's a lot of information available. That's what we call social analytics, and it really helps you understand what your users are doing with your app. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, please visit our forums at support.pinklestar.com, and we hope that your integration will work flawlessly. Thanks.